Hello everyone, welcome to the video lesson of chapter 6 from the book Flamingo, Poets and Pancakes by Asoka Mitran. But before starting the lesson, I would like to acquaint you all with the terms used frequently in this lesson. Children, in this chapter, special reference has been given to a studio which you might not be familiar with. It was established in 1940 and was known as Gemini Studio. Here you can see on your screen a picture of that studio. It was an Indian film studio based in Chennai, earlier Madras. Who doesn't like to apply makeup? It can make anybody beautiful. So here we move on to the next term, pancakes. It is not what you are thinking it to be. It is not an eatable thing. The word pancakes from the title Poets Pancakes is the name of a makeup brand that Gemini Studios bought in truckloads. Truckload here means in large amounts. It was a very popular brand used by famous celebrities like Greta Garbo, as you can see on your screen, Miss Gohar, Indian singer and actress, Vijayanti Mala, Indian film actress. The writer says that another actress named Rati Agnihotri might not had even heard of the brand name of the makeup as she entered the industry later, or probably the brand was no longer in use then. The lesson, Poet and Pancakes, begins with a brief description about the makeup department of Gemini Studios. The makeup department was located in the upstairs of the Gemini Studios, which was believed to have been Robert Clive's stables. Robert Clive, as you can see on your screen, Robert Clive was an English soldier and the statesman who expanded British power in India. The makeup department was like a hair cutting salon with lights at all angles around half a dozen large mirrors. As you can see on your screen, there were incandescent lights at all angles around half a dozen large mirrors. Incandescent means emitting light as a result of being heated. The bright lights emitted a lot of heat and were a source of discomfort for those getting their makeup done. These lights were of fierce misery of those subjected to makeup. At first, a Bengali was the head of the makeup studio, but then he outgrew Gemini Studio and left it for better opportunities. After him, it was supervised by a Maharashtrian who was assisted by Dharwad Kannadiga, an Andhra, a Madras Indian Christian, an Anglo-Burmese and usual local Tamils. Children, the fact that people from different cultures and religions work together puts forward the post-independence national integration scenario. So, it shows that people were united in a way before All India Radio and Doordarshan raised the concept of national integration. Now children, let us introduce ourselves with the protagonist of the story. Protagonist, as you might know, is the main hero of the story. All the story revolves around the protagonist. Who is the protagonist? Asoka Mitran. All the concepts discussed in the story are from the point of view of Asoka Mitran, who is a protagonist of the story. Now let us discuss Asoka Mitran's view on makeup. The author mentioned that this team of nationally integrated makeup men could turn any decent looking person into a hideous crimson monster with the help of pancakes. According to the author, these men had the ability to turn any simple looking individual into an ugly creature using heaps of pancakes products. Children, just like any large organization, the makeup studio followed a hierarchy, means a system. Hierarchy means a system in which members of an organization or society are ranked according to relative status. So here a strict hierarchy was maintained in the department. For instance, the chief makeup man made the chief actress and actress ugly. His senior assistant, the second hero and heroine, the junior assistant, the main comedian, and so forth. Their whole idea was to cover each and every blemish on a face to look good on screen. Children, now let us discuss another character of the makeup department, that is the office boy. The office boy in the makeup department, the players who played the crowd in any film you can see a crowd, and it was the responsibility of an office boy to make up those crowds. On the days of crowd shooting, one could see him mixing the paint in a giant vessel and slapping it on the crowd players. It's a very funny thing that you are applying a makeup like a paint. So the idea was to hide all the marks on the faces in the process of applying makeup. This is the ironical part here, that he was not really a boy. He was a middle-aged man in his 40s. He had entered the studio in the hope of becoming a star actor, screenwriter, director, or lyricist. He was a bit of a poet also. So, now let us discuss about the nature of Asoka Mitran's job now. So, he worked in a cubicle office. Cubicle as you can see on your screen, this is this type of office where he used to work. His duty was to cut newspaper clippings and store them in files. So now considering the nature of his job, his duty was to, what was the duty of Asoka Mitran? To cut newspaper clippings and store them in files. But most of the people thought that his job to be insignificant. So everybody thought that he did nothing. So whenever they were in frustration, they used to scold and give Asoka Mitran a long lecture. Even the office boy would come into his room to share his views of how poetic talent was getting wasted in the makeup department. Asoka Mitran would pray for crowd shooting at least, which was the only way to keep the office boy busy and which would also save him from his story. So this was the nature of the Asoka Mitran's job, to cut newspaper clippings and to restore them, but most of the people thought that no work at all. Now children, before moving further and discussing another character, let us have a quick recap. Pancake, a makeup brand bought by Gemini Studio. Asoka Mitran, protagonist of the story, believes that makeup makes a decent man ugly, works in the cubicle by collecting newspaper clippings on different subjects. Makeup department was like a hair cutting salon. Various people worked. It shows national integration. Office boy served the crowd players, wanted to become an actor, director, lyricist or poet. Now let us discuss about another character in the story whom office boy considered to be the main reason for all his misery, was Kotmangalam Subbu. Kotmangalam Subbu was called number 2 of the Gemini Studio. He was educated, but he was not much educated as compared to the office boy, but had the privilege of being a Brahmin. He was born a Brahmin, which was considered to be a virtue, because of which he could associate with well-off people and be in comfortable situation. He was optimistic, cheerful in every situation he came across, capable of keeping a happy face even after his film couldn't do well and all that. So that's why he was very optimistic. He was tailor-made for films. An extremely talented actor who came up with various alternatives to perform one scene. So Subbu was a very resourceful man also, who always had some sort of work for everyone. One had to only tell him a scenario and he would come with various ways to perform it. For instance, what happened when the director asked him to execute a scene in which a rat kills a tigress underwater but takes care of the cubs out of sympathy. Subbu came with 4 or rather 14 different ways to perform it, and he took less than a minute to work it out. So in this way he was a very resourceful person. He was a good poet too and also wrote a novel, Thilana Mohanambal. So he composed various folk story poems, and this novel which we are talking about, it was very infamous. It was not a famous novel, it was infamous novel, Thilana Mohanambal, with beautifully curated characters there. He even recreated the mood and manner of Devdasis who existed in the 20th century actually. So he did act as a subsidiary role and performed better than the main actors. Whichever role he performed, he had the ability to perform better than the main actors. He treated everyone with sincere respect and affection. That's why he was loyal also. He was charitable and had a genuine love for everyone. His house was always open, and that's why he had visitors who were his far relatives and acquaintances. So the narrator was, but one thing was there. The narrator was very amazed at the fact that even such a person could have enemies. Despite of his good nature, he had many enemies in the studio who were jealous of him, as he was very close with the boss. So Subbu worked in the story department comprising of legal advisors, writers and poets. Children, another member of the story that we are going to discuss about is a lawyer, often referred to as legal advisor. But people used to call him the opposite. You know what is the opposite of legal advisor? It's illegal advisor. This was because of a story behind it. Once what happened, there was an actress who got very angry with the team members and started shouting at them. Then this so-called legal advisor secretly turned on the recording and then played it when the actress paused for a while. After which she was so embarrassed that she left the industry. In her brilliant acting career came to an end because of so-called legal advisor. He was a member of story department. He always wore pants and a tie and sometimes even a coat which was opposite to the dress of other members of the story department who wore khadis. So, the legal advisor wore unique clothes different from usual uniform. He was very close to the boss. The legal advisor was very close to the boss. He was therefore allowed to produce films. Though a lot of raw stock and pancake were used in the film, it could not earn much. But when the boss closed the story department, the legal advisor also lost his job. Thus, it can be said that lawyer lost his job because the poets were asked to go home. Let us discuss relation between Gemini Studio and poets.
Gemini Studios was one of the favorite places of the poets.
The Gemini Studio was frequently visited by famous poets like S.D.S. Yogyar, Shangu Subramanyam, Krishna Sastri and Harindranath Chattopadhyay. They met over a cup of coffee at the studio. Here they could have a nice cup of coffee from the mess and had a good healthy discussion. In those days when Congress rule meant prohibition, Congress here means Indian National Congress. So meeting over a cup of coffee was quite entertaining. Only the office boys and some clerks at the studio worked and the others enjoyed their free time, which was necessary for creating poetry. Most of the poets, they wore clothes made of khadi fabric and they respected Gandhiji. But they were not politically inclined. They hated the concept that was in vogue that time. Communism. It was communism. What is communism? Communist was a godless man
without family love.
They did not have any hesitation about killing their own parents or son. Notions of communism floated in South India at that time. Gemini Studio displayed extreme hospitality when Frank Bookman's moral rearmament army consisting of 200 people came to Madras in 1952. They were hosted by Gemini Studios and were a team of international circus. Though they were not good performers and were not good at controlling animals, they presented two plays in a professional manner. The first play was Jotham Valley and the second one was The Forgotten Factor. These two plays were performed with full proficiency and professionalism, and they got a lot of appreciation while they performed it again and again in different parts of Madras. The Tamil plays were highly influenced by their plays and had a scene of sunrise or sunset as in Jotham Valley and a bare stage with a white background curtain and a tune on the flute. Later it was known that the MRA was a kind of counter movement to communism, and big bosses of Madras like Mr. Wasson played into their hand. MRA was actually opposed to communism. Whatever it was, the staff of Gemini Studios had a nice time hosting 200 people of different nationalities.
Now, let us keep both communism and MRA aside.
After few months, an unexpected phone call announced the arrival of yet another visitor. People made guesses about who was going to visit this time because most people knew a few poets like Wordsworth, Tennyson, or the enthusiasts knew about Keats, Shelley, Byron, Eliot. A poet was supposed to come from England. The staff at Gemini Studio was confused.
Later they came to know that he was an editor.
The boss, himself an editor of an Tamil weekly, Anand Vikatan, was willing to give that visitor a big reception.
As the top men of the Hindu were taking the initiative, this person was supposed to be the editor of a daily except the Manchester Guardian or the London Times.
The guest finally arrived at around 4 in the afternoon. The guest was tall and had a serious looking British face which was unknown to almost all of them. Now, the boss had a speech and invited the guest to deliver a speech. The boss talked on general concepts like freedom and democracy. Then it was the time for the poet to enlighten the audience, but unfortunately no one could understand a word he was saying because of his British accent. So, why nobody could understand the word? Because of his British accent. Everyone was left bewildered. The visitor was just as confused. People couldn't understand the reason why a British poet was there at a studio that made Tamil films. So, the visit remained a mystery for Asokamitran. Now, let us discuss about another view of Asokamitran about his writings. He has presented his views on prose writers. Qualities of prose writer has been described here. He believed that prose writers must be patient, persistent, persevering and must have a solid heart. Once, the Hindu had published a tiny announcement regarding a short story writing contest organized by the British periodical The Encounter. He visited the British Council Library to get information to find the copy of the periodical The Encounter. He found the periodical lying there untouched by readers. But as he read the editor's name, he was shocked. So, why was he shocked? Who was the editor? The editor was Stephen Spender. Children, you know, we have a poem by this poet Stephen Spender in our Flamingo. The name of the poem is An Elementary School Classroom in a slum. So he was the editor of the Encounter. He had visited the Gemini studio that day.
Ashokamitra felt as he had found a lost brother when he sealed the envelope and wrote his address.
He felt that he would also have the same feeling when he would open the letter. Finally, years later, when Ashokamitran left the Gemini studio, he had much time but no money. So anything at a discount attracted him. On the footpath of the Madras Mount Road post office, there was a pile of brand new books for 50 paise each. He was quite surprised by the cost. He came to know that they were copies of the American origin book, The God That Failed. They were low priced on account of the 50th anniversary of the Russian Revolution. Ashokamitran went ahead and read the names of the authors. Andrew Gide, Richard Wright, Ignacio Salon, Arthur Koestler,
Louis Fisher
and Stephen Spender. To conclude, when Ashokamitran read the sixth name, he was very surprised. It was Stephen Spender. The book suddenly gained utmost importance. The mystery of the unexpected visit was solved. The boss of the Gemini studio had nothing to do with Stephen's poetry actually, but he called him to demote the god that failed, that is
So,
communism.
Gemini Studios had a group of people against communism. Thank you. Hope you enjoyed.